First of all, there's a big presupposition when you're using this model, and it's a presupposition that there's actually parts inside of you that cause you things, that make behaviors occur. So the first presupposition is that inside you there's parts of you that create behaviors. It's not necessarily true, however, it's a good metaphor, and it actually works. So, second thing is where did it all come from? In the early 1970s, Richard Bandler was touring with a woman named Virginia Satir, who's a family therapist. She wrote, pioneered a thing called conjoint family therapy. And she wrote 2 books. People make several books, but the one that that I found to be useful is one called People Making, and it's all about her the idea of working in family systems. She, among other people in the era, Gregory Bateson being one of them, pioneered the whole idea of systems theory, organizational systems, family systems, and such. Before that, people didn't think of relationships and systems. So anyway, so Virginia developed this technique, which is quite elaborate, and it was called the parts party. And parts parties were a lot of fun to do. So here's how the theory goes, not theory, but here's how it goes. Gunther is, he's got a lot of problems. So it's, okay, Gunther, you're going to be the star of the parts party. And I'm going to be the guy, okay? And it's just going to guide things, but you're going to be the star. So what Gunther's task is to write down a list of 10 famous women and 10 famous men. And they can be historical figures, or they can be current figures, they can be politicians, they can be movie stars, they can be poets, musicians, whatever. But it's helpful if the famous person that Gunther comes up with, we all know, because then we can relate to that person. So he writes his list of 10 of these and 10 of those. And then a group of people, such as you, come together, and Gunther says, okay, Kristen, I want you to play Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is my ability to be powerful. And then it says, Renata, okay, I want you to play Madame Curie, okay? Do you know who Madame Curie was? Okay, she's a famous French person, medical and to do with healing and stuff, and you be my ability to heal, okay? And I want to, then we have Gabrielle, I want you to play Marilyn Monroe, okay? My ability to be sexy. And Christina, I want you to get the idea. So all these people are playing these roles. And then Gunther says, here's your character, here's your role, here's your role, here's your role. So we have these people in these roles, character roles. Now that we have them all assigned to different roles, that we're going to have an imaginary party. This is going to be the party environment, and we're going to have an imaginary cocktail party in which you will be the character of your role, and you will interact with the other participants. Your objective is to get all of the party aligned to you. So each part objective is to take control of the party. Okay? Now, the theory is that all the people that he chose are actually his behavior traits, and he's assigned them to you in the form of characters. And so you are playing out Gunther's personality, okay? And as you're interacting, and each part of his personality is trying to take over the rest of it. So as the party progresses, that the characters start to align with each other, okay? So Gunther's ability to be powerful aligns with his ability to be healing, which transforms now into his ability to be a powerful healer. healer, okay, as these parts integrate. And then they then get associated to Marilyn Monroe, who can use her sensuality to influence the healing process and get the idea, and they get stronger and stronger and stronger. So these roles come up, and also conflicts come up throughout the process. And at various random places, that the guide me said, okay, now freeze. And so everybody freezes, and then the guide says, Gunther, okay, here's your ability to be a conniving wimp who is now connecting to your ability to be creative. Do you know anything about that? Oh my God. And anyway, so these insights begin to occur through the person as the characters come together, have conflict, align, evolve. And this can go on to a number of hours until everybody is aligned and they all have a big group hug and go have a couple of glasses of wine down at the pub, and that's it. So it's pretty good, a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So we did a lot of these. Anyway, so that's the parts party. Okay, you got all these parts that are playing outside like a soccer drummer. And then the question is, well, wait a minute now, what if we actually put these parts and put them inside someone's head? And we didn't have to have all these elaborate parts parties, but we could pretend that the abilities were inside a person's head. And somebody came up with an arbitrary number that each of us have 10 parts. And so then we began doing what's called a parts negotiation. So if there's conflict between, that's going on, like somebody wants to but they can't, then there's a conflict of two parts wanting to do something. And then the coach or therapist would ask the person to go inside and to contact that part and to do what we call a parts negotiation. So it's basically you are a mediator between, the person is a mediator between the other person's two parts, okay, to strike a deal, okay. So then that evolved to, well, why do we have to have 10 parts? You know, you can have as many parts as you want or as few parts as you want. So that just, it evolved, and then out of that then became this process to do an integration. If there's something that you're trying to get for yourself, or you have a limitation, the presupposition is that there is a part of you who is controlling this process and preventing you from doing something, and this reframing model is designed so you can do a negotiation with this part. And so it was identified in these 6 steps. Now, this is how it's all laid out. You can do a very streamlined portion, as we're going to be doing when we do things like positive hallucination. Some of you are probably not, may not get it the first go, and so you just say, okay, I want you to go inside and ask that part that is preventing you from being able to, hallucinate your favorite toy as a child, what its objection is. So instead of going through this whole thing, you just go inside and you go directly to the part. Okay? Now, it was one of the really early models, long time ago, maybe it's 1973, 72, long time ago. But it was, it's interesting. And then hypnosis came along, and Milton Erickson was doing some really fantastic things. People were doing deep trance phenomena, positive and negative hallucinations. So then we started using this model, without putting somebody into a trance, to say, okay, can you hallucinate a bottle of Coca-Cola in front of you? And they go, well, no. Okay, we'll go in and ask the part what it needs in order for you to do that. And so just doing things like that. And so the parts thing started getting integrated with hypnosis, and there you go. So there's still components of this that are very useful even today. I mean, people talk about, the new NLP and all that kind of stuff. This is a fundamental thing that I think that I know is going to be useful for you, because at some time you're going to say, okay, let's do this. You may be working in hypnosis, you do a dreaming arm, it doesn't work, go inside, ask the part that's stopping you from dreaming, what does it need in order to allow you to have a good dream? And the amazing thing is, it answers you. Wow, where did that come from? Sometimes it answers you in the form of a voice, sometimes a picture, sometimes a feeling. But you start communicating with yourself as if there's actually somebody in there that's talking back. And it's kind of weird. But it works. That's the thing. The bottom line is it's a model that, it's a good metaphor. It works, so let's do it. I mean, it's not real. It's imagination. There really isn't a bunch of people inside of you who are having a bunch of problems. However, if you have the presupposition that there is, you can do this model and get some successful things. Now, this is very good for people who have secondary gains. In other words, they get benefits from having problems. You'd be surprised, people will die. And I've known people who have cancer that wouldn't change because it meant something, they would have to give up. People go, oh, poor Andy, oh, have some soup. They would rather have that and die than to stand on their own 2 feet. It's just, I find it's a bizarre concept that people just don't recognize. I think that, look, and it's these secondary benefits. One woman who had a phobia, she had a phobia of going to, yes, you have something to say? Go ahead.
We just wanted to know what secondary gains is.
That's what I'm telling you. Okay, so a woman had a phobia of going out to open spaces with other people. And so, of course, she had this fear that, so if she went out to go somewhere, she had called up her friend to go with her because she felt secure if her friend was with her to sit down and they'd have a cup of coffee and a cup of cake together and gossip and everything like that. And then she realized if she cured her phobia, then she would have to go out shopping by herself. And so she didn't want to fix her phobia because she had a secondary benefit. If she had the phobia, she gets coffee and gossip with her friends. No phobia, she doesn't, so she would rather have the phobia. Okay? So that's what a secondary benefit is. It's having an advantage for having a problem. You get these all the time. Sometimes it's really bizarre. People keep problems because, they get to argue. And there's a benefit in arguing. They get their emotions going. And some people have very limited repertoire of emotions, so they manufacture a situation to get into an emotional argument so they can feel alive, because that's the only thing that they know to have that experience. So they stay locked in these not very good situations because there's a secondary benefit in it. So that's what a secondary gain is. So 6-step reframing is good for working with secondary benefit, because the benefit, for example, if this woman is going out and having a cup of tea, you say, okay, fine, what do you need, in order to allow this person to go outside by herself, okay? So you bring it into the system. It says, well, let me think now. If I'm going to let her go out by herself, then she's going to have to get an ice cream, okay? Okay, so if she gets an ice cream when she goes out, will you not hassle her? No problem, okay? And I'm serious, sometimes you come up with some simple, stupid things like that. You have to have an ice cream. Okay, your unconscious mind comes up with really things, okay? It could be something, I don't know, could be anything, really. So if you satisfy the objection, there's no problem. So this exercise is a very good process to go in and finding the part that is objecting to changing and asking it what it needs to participate in the change. Okay, so it's good for working with secondary benefits. Okay, you can fix a lot of things with it. Now, this with anything, it won't make you do anything. This is a very good stop smoking exercise. Because people talk a lot about, well, if I don't smoke, what will I do? Okay? Well, it says here, access resources, okay? If you don't smoke, okay, here's 3 new things you can do instead of that, okay? And you go through the process, there's no objections. If you do these 3 things, okay, Will you stop hassling me about smoking? Sure, no problem. You can trial it out in hypnosis, do a future pace, it all works. But the bottom line is, if you don't do those things, you're going to continue to smoke. Because it won't make you do things. It'll give you reminders that you can do different things. However, if you go, I'm not going to do those, you're probably going to be a smoker. So you have to look for other things. Nothing that we're going to do is going to make you do anything. I can't tell you how many people said they want me to help them, they want me to get them to stop smoking, okay? Do hypnosis, so I can stop smoking. It doesn't happen that way. Hypnosis is a really good guide, and, however, the bottom line is that, you need to follow the program, so to speak, right? Now, okay, so sometimes we can do things covert and unconsciously, and that's really cool too. But if there's not a basic desire for you to get an ice cream, then it's not going to happen. You've got to get that ice cream, or you've got to tell your wife you love her, or you have to hug your kid every morning before they go to school, or whatever your unconscious mind tells you that you need to do, then you need to do it. Okay? Because it knows. And it will say some strange things sometimes. Just like Scratch knows, because he's itching to find out. It's difficulty to face the events sometimes, and he just feels that, reaching up, to touch the face of reality. Right? Good. Okay, you have to have your gun out when you do these exercises too. Doesn't work. Okay, so that's a little bit of background about what it is and why it works and things like that.